Hello, I'm Phil Liggett with the 83rd Tour de France as it now enters its final week, which takes us from the heat of mid-France via the Pyrenean Mountains to the finish in Paris. This has been a remarkable race, having found 5 leaders along the way since it all began in Holland. The first was Alex Zülle from Switzerland, who won the prologue. And then followed Frédéric Moncassin of France. Only a day later, it was his teammate Stefan Erlo who took over the leader's yellow jersey. But as the race entered the Alps, Stefan Erlo retired, and the new leader became the first Russian ever to lead this race, Evgeny Berzin. He held the lead for 2 days, and then the race found a confident man at the top, Jan ULLRICH of Denmark. As we pick up the tail at the start of the third and final week, Jan ULLRICH is now leading by 56 seconds overall, and he's trying to become the first Danish rider ever to win the Tour de France. The Pyrenees were on the horizon as the survivors faced the final 7 days. They sweltered in the hottest weather so far as they crossed the stunning scenery of the Corrèze. At the finish in Villeneuve-sur-Lot, it was the chance for bit player and veteran Massimo Podenzano to take his first ever stage win in his second Tour de France. But overall, there was no change. The real contenders had done their best to take a day away from the action, because on the very next day came the mountaintop finish in the Pyrenees to Hautecam. The field in 17 days of racing had been reduced drastically from the 198 who had signed in Holland to just 135. Overall, Riis was in the leader's yellow jersey by 56 seconds from the Spanish world champion Abraham OLANO. He was 68 seconds ahead of the Russian Evgeny Berzin. The big surprise was Miguel Indurain. Since losing time in the Alps, he was still behind by 4 minutes and 38 seconds. On this first day in the mountains, the action came as the field started the climb to Hautecam. It provided the perfect stage for a clash of the giants of this tour. The first rider in the race is here, Riis. OLANO second is here, but he's gone straight back again. He dropped back and now he's accelerated, and he's accelerating right from the bottom of the climb. Really, we're only 4 kilometres into it. They've got to react and get him straight away, because if he does go at this point, he would get 2 minutes.
We most certainly would, but that wasn't a very good attack. You know, he came from 4th or 5th position. He just lifted the pace a little bit. I think that may well have been a psychological attack to just try and show his rivals that he's in good shape, and he may well not be. He may be going through a bad patch at the moment, and that was just to throw the gauntlet down a little bit, but it wasn't a super attack by Riis.
But he keeps looking at the riders. He looks at Miguel Indurain. He really, I think, feels very confident here. Now it's another attack and a fast acceleration too. Miguel Indurain gets his wheel, followed by Laurent Dufaux, and these 3 riders. Virenque comes straight up. LeBlanc is up there. So too is Piepoli. And in fact, the whole group reacting very well. Berzin looks a little bit suspect. He's on the tail end of the whip.
This is a very dangerous thing for Riis to do, because what he will do is open himself up to a counter-attack if ever he puts himself into difficulty. But what I think he's trying to do is actually get rid of Berzin, and Berzin, as we speak, has gone out of the back at the moment, 40 or 50 metres back.
Berzin is the furthest back of the line. Jan ULLRICH is throwing it down to them. He's saying, if you want to win the Tour, you have got to take it from me. There is little Evgeny Berzin, just trying to keep that lead group in the picture. But if he gets one more acceleration like that from Jan ULLRICH, then he will be left. But I think, again, Riis has slowed right down.
It's a very strange thing to do. He does open himself up to a counter-attack. Dufaux moving up on the outside there. And another rider he's already got rid of, I think, is Abraham OLANO, because I think that last acceleration got rid of him. Riis goes up again.
Here's the next one. Here's the next one. He has gone again. This is the 3rd time that Riis has gone. We think he's shaken out the 2nd and 3rd rider overall in this race with his 2 previous attacks, and now he's going for a 3rd time. It's almost if he goes back and takes a look at who he's hurt.
Definitely, that was an incredible attack, and he realizes this is the kind of thing that will put Miguel Indurain under pressure. He can't respond to attacks, he can't lift his pace, he can only ride at one rhythm, and now Indurain has to get into a rhythm and try and come back to the yellow jersey of Jan ULLRICH.
Well, Jan ULLRICH has been confident. He told his team back in November he'd win the Tour de France, but my goodness me, he's ridden so well this time, and now he's looking around as if to see where he's going to next, and he's just keeping the pace nice and steady. There are now only 3 riders with him.
Second in line is Luc LEBLANC, followed by Laurent Dufaux, and in 4th place, the man leading the King of the Mountains competition at the moment, Richard Virenque. But Virenque really seems to be suffering, and Jan ULLRICH really has opened up a gap.
Well, ULLRICH, not surprisingly, is gone. It was his job to soften them all up at the start of the climb, and they've all gone. Now Rees has waited, he's attacked them, he's waited, he's attacked them, and now he's gone.
Phil, he didn't attack them, he actually just rode them off his wheel. He pressed on the pedals a little bit and didn't even realise that he was going away alone.
Well, he is riding like a superb champion. He is proving he is really the very best man in this race. Bjarne Riis gave them plenty of warning. He told them 2 days ago he'd win by 2 minutes at Oterkamp. They've all had their chance. They were right there with him. He tempted them, he left them, he went back to them, he tempted them, he did it 3 times, and now it looks as though he's going to ride to the victory at the top of Oterkamp.
Well, an incredible performance there. It was amazing the way he just rode away from everybody else. Further down the slopes, Miguel Indurain is suffering. He's surrounded by Luttenberger, the climber, Laurent Dufaux, and the face there you can just see in the middle of Jan ULLRICH. I think a man for the future.
Look at this crowd now as he goes under the 1 kilometre to go banner on Oterkamp. This is nothing compared to the day we have tomorrow, because we go right across the Pyrenees on the longest stage of the race, and let's hope he hasn't used up too much energy today.
I think he'll be riding on elation tomorrow, because the man is flying up the last kilometre at the moment. It's strange to see he's on the bottom part of his handlebars there, using all the power of his upper body as well as that of his legs to keep his machine going at the moment. A little bit of a problem with the gear there. He looks down to make sure he's in the right one, but Bjarne Riis is really riding into history this afternoon.
Well, the latest time checks, Berzin is now 3 minutes behind, and remember he started today 3rd overall, 1:08 off the yellow jersey. He's lost 3 minutes on this climb. Miguel Indurain has lost 2.5 minutes now, and so this is all change again. Bjarne Riis, the parting of the waves here for the chase group, which includes an Italian, a Swiss and 2 Frenchmen. But they're all giving best to a Danish rider in the Tour, and they've never done that before. And so I think the grimace is slowly turning to a smile here, as Bjarne Riis hasn't got the gap he said he would get, but well, we'll forgive him for that, because he's got half of it today. He's pedalled up to the summit of Oterkamp as he sits out of the saddle now, opened his mouth and searches for the finish. Inside 5 hours for the ride to the top of the Pyrenees, and then he'll sit back and he will watch the time tick away the rivals who are worried about him, and well, they should have done. He even gave away 2 seconds there, saluting the crowd as he crosses the line. He knows in his heart this Tour de France is for him, barring accident. So Riis had lived up to his boast that he would win at Oterkamp, but more of a surprise was the failure again of Miguel Indurain in the mountains. This day had seen him celebrate his 32nd birthday at the start, and everyone had expected a fight back. But instead the Pyrenees had served only to highlight the Spaniards' continuing poor form. Riis's lead had opened up as everyone gave best to the Dane. Abraham OLANO was, yes, still in 2nd place, but now 2 minutes and 42 seconds behind, while Tony Rominger was up to 3rd, but even further back. For Miguel Indurain, he had finished only 12th and was now down to 10th overall, more than 7 minutes off the pace. The longest stage of the race made the second day in the Pyrenees the most difficult for many years. As if this race had not already been tough enough, the survivors now faced 262 kilometres in hot sunshine. They were crossing the climbs of the Col d'Aubisque, the Col de Marie Blanc, the Col de Soudet, and the mountain which carried the event into Spain for the finish in Pamplona, the Port de l'Arrow. Fears that the Basque separatist group ETA would live up to its threats and disrupt the event was limited to a brief demonstration, as the early leader, Neil Stephens of Australia, was delayed. But on a day such as this, the heads of the event had one last chance to challenge Riis. One question was answered early on. Miguel Indurain was not going to refine himself in this race, and the great Spaniard suffered visibly on roads he knew so well. He fell further and further back to eventually finish in a second group, a group which would also contain Abraham OLANO and Tony Rominger, 2 more noted names who lost their high places overall. Instead, as the 8 leaders approached Pamplona, Riis was back in command. Could he win his 2nd stage in a row? And it's a fine approach to the finishing line as well. The riders kept on one side of a dual carriageway all the way down through this very, very beautiful city. But they're all waiting for the move. They're all watching each other, and they're all back together again now as we're coming down to the last couple of kilometres of this race. Ugrimov, I think they're going to let him fry now, Paul.
Bjarne Riis went to the back there. I was worried when he went to the back on Hotekam yesterday because I thought it was a moment of weakness, but the man is just so strong. He can sit at the back of the group and survey exactly what is going on, which is what he's doing right now as Virenque tries a little dummy attack down the left-hand side.
Now and they go again. Riis has gone again. Riis has launched another attack up on the inside. So Ullrich's turn to wait now. This is the two riders have gone like ferrets out of the front of this group. Just look at the gap they've formed this time. And I think it's Dufault who's gone with him. Dufault is going to sit there and hold him. And I think Riis wading through. Dufault is going to go through. He takes a look at Riis. As he goes over the top of Bjarne Riis, the Swiss rider now has the gap. Laurent Dufault, he's only been a pro barely 5 years. He finished 19th in the Tour de France last year, 43rd in the Tour of Italy, and now they're both clear and working together. And the yellow jersey has got the advantage again. There'll be no reaction from Ullrich. It's going to have to come from Escartine, I think.
But that gap has opened up so rapidly. These two men have decided to work well together at the front. They won't have very much further to go. If they can open up 100 metres, then the winner has got to come from these two riders, and I think it will do now as they go under the 1 kilometre banner.
So Laurent Dufault, the rider who is having a great tour, and he finished 20th in the World Championships a couple of years ago. He's one of those riders that hangs near the good results but never gets them. Now he has got himself onto the back wheel of the Maillot Jaune of the Tour de France. He's been watching for this move. Everybody who has attacked Laurent Dufault has gone with them. He seems to have the strength to work with Bjarne Riis.
Riis looks over his shoulder there just as a check to see exactly where everybody else is. It's a shame though for Jan Ullrich because he's done so much work. I thought he would have been the man, but it's going to go down to a two-man sprint here. Riis takes the front line and Dufault's perfectly placed in his wheel.
So as they come into the straight in Pamplona, no Miguel Indurain in the yellow jersey, but it's a yellow jersey who looks up towards the finish again now. In at the kill of another tough stage of the Tour de France. Bjarne Riis is the man this year. He's going to lead out Laurent Dufault. He may not have the legs to hold him off. Dufault is itching to get a go at the finishing line today. He's come close on a number of stages. Now he grits his teeth. The head down of Bjarne Riis. That won't be enough. Laurent Dufault gets the stage. Bjarne Riis is second. A great result for Switzerland, an even better result for the Maillot Jaune. Over 7 minutes later, Miguel Indurain, relegated to the also-rans for the first time in 7 years, made no effort to finish at the head of his group. But even if the champion had failed, his people were now ready to forgive him as they saluted one of the finest riders of his time. Bjarne Riis also played his part as he stood a discreet pace behind the ex-King of July and applauded him. Overall, the race had faced another reshuffle as Riis now led his teammate Jan Ullrich, while Richard Virenque of France was up to third. The world champion Abraham OLANO and Tony Rominger were down to 9th and 10th. Indurain, on his special visit home, had gone down to 11th, while the Russian Evgeny Berzin, once the leader of the Tour de France, was almost 40 minutes back now in a race that continued to ring the changes. The next day brought a strike, not by the two-wheeled pedallers, but the two-wheeled riders of the motorcycles. They were protesting at the conduct of Kelme team manager Alvaro Pino, who, they said, had deliberately knocked off a motorcyclist and his photographer the previous day. The team managers also stood together, saying it was an accident. So the stalemate ended when the photographers agreed later there would be no more pictures of the Spanish team's riders. The race itself left Spain and the Pyrenees in a relaxed mood, the few remaining climbs inspiring none of the leaders to attack Bjarne Riis. Instead, 14 riders escaped, the best placed overall being the Australian Patrick Jonker. He was lying 17th. Approaching the finish in the seaside town of Onday, two riders slipped the group. The German champion Christian Henn in white and Dutchman Bart Voskamp. In the sprint finish, it was Voskamp who gave the Dutch the third stage win of the Tour. Patrick Jonker trailed in 14th place and last of the group, but he had gained almost 16 minutes over the field and was now up to 12th place overall. He was surprisingly also the best man of the Spanish Once team now. Overall among the leaders, though, there was no change. With only 3 days to go and the individual time trial next day, the leaders preferred to dig in and await the final big test. The flat roads to Bordeaux generated little interest. It was a day for the riders to look at the spectators rather than the other way around. Eric Zabel increased his lead in the green jersey competition when he won the sprint after 83 kilometres. And then, as the race approached the line, Zabel was trying for his third stage win of the Tour. Zabel will be the rider in the green jersey. I can't see him at the moment from this angle, but he'll be tucked. Oh, there he is, right in the centre. He's worked his way through, as always. Frédéric Moncassin is also a rider who isn't a sprinter to beat Zabel, but now we're seeing an attack here. And it looks as though it is Jan who has gone clear, and it looks to me like the style of Chris Boardman, but they've gone over the top of him, the Rabobank. Chris Boardman made his effort there, and he's still digging deep, but he's slowly going down the line as the sprinters now go over the top of the British rider, and they're lining up for the finish. They'll see the kilometre very shortly.
Well, there is the kilometre, 1 kilometre to go for these riders. There was a good move there by Boardman, very quickly countered by somebody from the Rabobank team, but MG have decided today will be the day for Fabio Baldato, and they nailed them back very quickly. Ekimov going down the right-hand side.
Well, this is almost a traditional attempt by Ekimov, who always attacks in the last kilometre and can try and ride. He's won a stage this way in the past, but not today, because they're immediately on him, and it's the hard-riding Christian Hen, second yesterday, who's gone over the top of Vyacheslav Ekimov. This is going to be a very, very testy finish, because the green jersey now being moved through, so too Jamaluddin Abdujaparov. And there is Zabel here in the green. Jamaluddin Abdujaparov looks over his shoulder and sees the man he didn't want to see. A little bit of switching of wheels there now. André Schmil is leading out, the Lotto man, but they're moving very closely up onto the shoulder of André Schmil now. Zabel is waiting, but he's a long way down. I'm not so sure Zabel can get out of this one. Baldato is the rider over the left. Now Zabel sees the finish, and Frédéric Moncassin takes him on. It's going to be all the sprinters together. Oh, it's going to be a photo, but I do believe that Moncassin took it on the line, and that was a shout of sheer delight from the crowd, and that was enough for me. I think Frédéric Moncassin won the stage. Now let's have a look at this. This was a sprint royale, as the French would say. They were all in on it. The man I couldn't see though was Jerome Blijlevens. Baldato heading for the line, Schmil dropping away on the right. Then came the run of Eric Zabel in the green, coming up to the shoulder of Jamaluddin Abdujaparov. Then the acceleration of the white jersey of Frédéric Moncassin. He gets up alongside Baldato, Zabel and himself, and as they come to the line, he's got it. So it will go Moncassin, Zabel, Baldato is the order at the finish. Well, Zabel may have lost the stage, but his second-place finish confirmed his win in the green jersey competition, and there were still 2 days left to go. Overall, there was again no change at all amongst the leaders for the yellow jersey. Bjarne Riis remained 3 minutes 59 seconds ahead of his teammate Jan ULLRICH. Final adjustment to those overall positions were expected in the race's last time trial. The sum was at its highest, and the riders, all 129 of them, leaving Bordeaux one by one in the 63.5 kilometres test. It was a tour now of the French vineyards on the road to Saint-Emilion. The early marker was Britain's Chris Boardman. He led at all of the checkpoints to finish in a time of 1 hour and 18 minutes. Then Miguel Indurain showed a refreshing return to form. He was leading 2 at all of the time checks, having started 11th from the end of the field. He was proving to himself his career is far from over yet. When he finished, he was well out in front. But on the course, there was now another rider setting hot times at all of the time checks. His name, Jan ULLRICH, second overall in the Tour de France, and he was now providing quite a shock. Here comes Richard Virenque now, heading up towards the finish. The time to beat, well, he's not going to do that, but the time he wants to beat, 1:17.50 of Dufault. He won't beat that time, but he'll be very close to it, and that will be good enough to keep Richard Virenque in his 3rd place overall. A long, long way up the home straight here. It will be an excellent straight for the sprinters in the mass start events, but today is the time trial. His mouth wide open. Richard Virenque running at the time now, don't forget, of what does he do? 1:18.01. He loses only 11 seconds to Laurent Dufault, and that was the result. But look further down the straight, and you've got Jan ULLRICH coming in now, a rider who started 3 minutes behind Richard Virenque. This has been an incredible performance by the young German rider. As he comes up towards the line now, the 22-year-old Jan ULLRICH is going to win this time trial. There's still one man to finish, Bjarne Riis, but it won't make any difference today. ULLRICH gets the stage win. He has promised throughout the tour. Let's see the time, 1:15.31. It says on the clock. That is an incredible ride. Underneath the 1 kilometre banner for Bjarne Riis, and the clock is counting down, and it's counting against him, because Jan ULLRICH is in with the best time of 1 hour 15 minutes and 31 seconds, and it looks, Paul, over these last kilometres that Bjarne Riis has blown up.
He really has faded. He's been suffering. It looked to me all the time as if he couldn't find his rhythm. He was searching for strength, trying to use a big gear. He couldn't keep it going over, and he lost time at every time check to his own teammate. But he's in the final few meters now. He's going to take the yellow jersey in this year's Tour de France, but it's his teammate Jan ULLRICH who really has been the revelation of the 1996 Tour.
And here comes Jan ULLRICH up to the line now. As long as he's inside 1 hour, 19 minutes and 30 seconds, then we can say he will go on to win the Tour de France tomorrow. When it finishes on the Champs-Élysées, it's an awful long way home.
It's an awful long way home. He's well inside. The clock now reading 1 hour, 17 minutes and 31 seconds. 2 minutes slower than his teammate Jan ULLRICH, but he's not got very far to go.
He is going to have conceded the best part of 2.5 minutes to his teammate ULLRICH today. Jan ULLRICH was lucky enough with his pure strength in the mountains to have built the lead that mattered. 1:17.49. He loses 2:18 of his overall lead to ULLRICH, but he keeps his yellow jersey, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And that stunning ride by Jan ULLRICH of 1 hour, 15 minutes and 31 seconds, proving 56 seconds too good for Miguel Indurain, who finished a refreshing second. In third place was the world champion, Abraham OLANO. So overall, there had been a minor reshuffle of the pack. Jan ULLRICH still in yellow, but now his lead of 3 minutes 59 seconds was down to 1 minute and 41 seconds ahead of ULLRICH. Third place retained by Richard Virenque and fourth by Laurent Dufaux. Luttenberger stayed fifth, while Luc LEBLANC climbed up to sixth. Ugrumov and Escartine both lost a place. Now it was next stop, Paris. And on the road to Paris, indeed, the riders didn't turn a pedal in anger. In fact, they enjoyed champagne along the way. But when they did come into Paris, then they turned it on in style. 4 riders breaking clear immediately. And of those 4 riders, we had Flavio Vanzella, 3 Italians, in fact, Andrea Taffi and Massimo Podenzana. They were joined by André Schmil. There was 8 laps of the Champs-Élysées at 6.5 kilometres a lap, and they were still away as they came on to the last lap. But then the field swept them up, and it was a sprint royale. Keep your eye on that green jersey of Zabel. There he is on the right of our screen. Behind him, the man who hopes to beat him to the line, Frédéric Moncassin. At the moment, the score is 2 to Moncassin, 2 to Zabel.
1 to Abdou Japarov, and not in the sprint. Abdou Japarov in 8th place at the moment. You see the Tashkent Terror is riding a great race. He knows how to win here. It's a very difficult sprint to judge. It's such a long way from that final corner. You've got to time it just right.
And here they come, back into the sun now. The face on the left of Andrea Taffi. They're so close, but out of the tunnel comes Dario Bottaro. There's Jan ULLRICH, second overall, still doing his work for the team. Now he wants the green jersey on his back wheel.
What a fantastic rider ULLRICH has been. 22 years of age. He's lying in second place in the overall standings. He's worked for the yellow jersey, and now he's going to the front of the Tour de France one more time, not to defend his second place in the overall standings, but to try and get a teammate another victory, and he's closed the gap.
And how close that gap has come under the kilometre kite for the last time in 1996. They are saying it's 4 seconds. It's not going to be enough now because you can't hold back a tidal wave, and that's what the Tour de France is. The sprinters are in the little bubble, about 6 men back from the front.
Taffi makes one last gasp. If he can just get round that corner, he might surprise him, but Schmil has reacted excellently. He's straight onto the wheel there. It's too late for these 4 riders. They put in a great effort, and now the whole field is back together.
The order as they approach the Champs-Élysées for the last time. Schmil with Taffi on his wheel. Vanzella now can feel the warmth of the riders around him. And in fact, there's a rider from Brasilia who's gone over the top of them all. And that rider almost certainly will be Mariano Piccoli. As they line up for the finish now, the Brasilia rider makes a dash for the line. Zabel is still lost in there. Baldato's on the far left. Schmil is in the middle. Moncassin, Blyleven's, Baldato and Zabel over to the left of our screen. Baldato leads them out. And I think Zabel is coming through on the inside. Baldato gets it. Baldato gets the stage win. Well, he was about the only sprinter left in the Tour de France this year who hasn't won. The hands in the air of Jan ULLRICH, a 10-year professional, a first-time winner of the Tour de France today. An almost perfect end. Well, it was a perfect end to the Tour de France. The one sprinter missing off the list was Baldato. This was how he got his victory. Blyleven's in yellow on his shoulder. Zabel on the top of our picture. Moncassin coming through on the bottom. But Baldato never made a mistake. And there in the middle of them all in red, Jamaluddin Abdou Japarov. And he will get third. Baldato on the line. Moncassin. Blyleven's, in fact, will get third. Abdu 4th, and Zabel 5th. And so the final overall result of the Tour de France, a win for Bjarne Riis of Denmark, the first time ever by a Dane. Jan ULLRICH, just 22 from Germany, he got second, and that's a first for more than 30 years for the Germans, a minute and 41 seconds back. Richard Virenque of France finished third, a podium place for him. He also won for the third year in succession the polka dot jersey as winner of the King of the Mountains. Fourth, Laurent Dufaux of Switzerland, and fifth, Peter Luttenberger of Austria. A truly international result in the 83rd Tour de France. The team itself was won by Festina. I hope you've enjoyed the Tour de France throughout these past 3 weeks, and for the last time, goodbye.